Hey everyone, let's talk about the 2026 Olympics, and NHL players are able to participate. So we're going to start with the Canadian predictions for the 2026 Olympics. So these are just part one. I mean, these are really early on. We're at the start of 2024 here. So I thought I would do a part one for my prediction, just based on what we've seen, what I know, potential future, all that good stuff. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Hit that like button, notification bell. When all that stuff comes around, I'll be streaming for it. So I hope you guys are here. But yeah, I mean, I have had different variations. I've kind of gone back and forth. One variable is like a Zach Hyman. Right off the bat, I'll just talk about that, is that I really compare it back to like the Crosby, Chris Kunitz when there was that Olympic team. And I just think this could be similar. Hyman, as I'm recording this video, like we're just past the halfway point of the season. Hyman has 30 goals on the board. He's a different kind of player that we'll see throughout this roster. So I think he's young enough where I think he'll be like 33 by the point of this tournament. He's still probably going to be pretty effective. I think even if he's not in the top line with McDavid, I think there's so many variations. Like I could see Crosby being, at his older age, being on like the left wing with McDavid maybe. Then you just like boost up, like maybe you either put Barzal at the center spot or Braden Point at the center spot in the second line. But I think this is a good forward group. Hyman, McDavid, Bedard. I think a really balanced top line. McDavid, Bedard would be electric. Then Barzal, Crosby, McKinnon. I think you have everything there. You have the size and the dominance from McKinnon. You have the experience and the intelligence from Crosby across the board. And then you have the speed and the playmaking from Barzal. I mean, I think that's just unbelievable second line. Stamkos, Point, Marner. Stamkos is like the asterisk here just in terms of like we'll see what he is in 2 years. He's already showing some signs, but I think between Stamkos and Marchand, we're going to see a significant role from one of those two guys. I think both of them make the team, to be honest. I think it's crazy to say that as of right now, yeah, you know what? You could make the hot takes, and this is hot take hockey, and saying one of those guys won't make the team because Marchand will be, like 37, and Stammer's going to be like 36 or maybe even older than that. So I think that part is crazy to think about, that like Crosby, Stammer, Marchand, like these guys are going to be like late 30s at this point. But I think at least two of those guys still make the team. I love the Braden Point Marner connection. I think those guys would work really well. So the Stammer Point chemistry, and then Marchand, Cousins, Stone. I think you need to have some size and two-way ability in this lineup. So a lot of your like penalty killing guys would come down to like Hyman, Marner, Stone, Cousins, Marchand. Like those guys would probably have a role in the penalty kill. Reinhart, Suzuki are my extra forwards. I could see Reinhart on the fourth line. For example, I had a scenario at one point where I had like Stone on the top line with McDavid, Bedard, or even Crosby on the top line. Then, as I said, Point on the second line, Barzal on the third line with Marner, and then Reinhart on the fourth line. I could see that as well. Honorable mentions, as you see, I mean, there's a lot more honorable mentions I could mention. Tavares would be interesting. It really comes down to his skating. His skating, as you guys have been watching, has kind of gone a little bit of a downfall, but I think he could be a candidate for the fourth line center or fourth line wing spot or an extra forward. He has a lot of experience in Olympic hockey as well. Scheifele would be an interesting one. It's just what role would he be? Like I feel like Scheifele's on a fourth line guy on a Team Canada. I mean, he's more offensive. He doesn't really have that defensive game to him. Lafreniere would be a very interesting one because he's really turned it on. A lot of people were calling him a bust, but now this year he's been electric. If Lafreniere can keep that development by 2026, he could be a candidate for at least battling for a spot on this team. Thomas, we'll see with the 2018 situation. Kyrou, inconsistent. Verhaeghe's a point per game right now. So if there was a scenario where Florida does really well the next couple of years, they maybe go for a Stanley Cup run again, maybe win the Stanley Cup, I could see Verhaeghe and Reinhart making this team as other fourth liners or extra forwards. Horvat's another interesting one. Maybe Horvat, Barzal make up a fourth line or third line or something. We'll see how Horvat does. Defense. Let's look at the defense here. I think there's a lot of perspectives here, but I think I'm confident with these seven guys, to be honest. Devon Taves we'll see, but I think they really do when they're doing these selection processes, like they value chemistry. So like that's why I think Hyman's going to make the team because of McDavid. That's why I think Stammer's still going to be on the team because of Point. I think chemistry plays a huge part in it, and I think Taves-Makar is probably your pair. Unless, I mean, here's my thing. If Taves has a fall off, then I could see Morrissey-Makar being the top pair and then go from there. But I'm very confident in these seven guys. The one hot take I would have is that Owen Power. We'll see how Owen Power develops over the next year and a half, 2 years. I think he's going to be a stud. So Power would be an honorable mention. Ekblad, Hamilton. We'll see where Drew Doughty's at with his age. I know they've always respected Drew Doughty in terms of Canadian Olympic hockey. But these 7 guys, Taves, Makar, I think Dobson's shown really well this year. I can't believe a couple years ago some Islanders fans were getting impatient with the guy. I knew he was going to be electric and just keep improving his defensive game. So Morrissey, Dobson, I think would be a really good second pair. And then Theodore Pietrangelo. I mean, I'm a big Riley guy. Anyone that follows the channel, I have him as the 7th defenseman here. Just again, because Taves, Makar, Colorado, Theodore Pietrangelo, Vegas, they just won a cup. Taves, Makar won a cup. You see where I'm getting at? Like, I feel like Canada's going to really value that experience, see that it's valuable. So I think those 4 guys have a really good shot to make the team. And then Morrissey's shown so well in the last few years. I think Riley has stepped up in playoffs, and I think that's where his value comes in. But Morrissey, I feel like the last 2 years, especially in this season, has consistently shown his defensive game. And I think that would offset for Dobson's offensive game. I personally, right now, I think Riley could have the edge on one of those 2 guys, but we're talking 2 years from now. And Riley's older than those guys. So I think Riley and Morrissey are obviously closer, but Dobson's got a lot of growth still. So I'm confident in these 7 guys. I think Dougie Hamilton could get a look. Ekblad could get a look. We'll see. And then goaltending. This one's tough. So I went Levi, Skinner, Jari, but I do want to add Aiden Hill in this. So I am making that clear. I'm adding Aiden Hill to the conversation for a couple different reasons. One, because he won a cup, but also his save percentage has just been unreal this year, and he's young enough where at the point of this tournament he could be there. So my hot take is Levi. I think he's going to keep progressing. But Skinner, Jari, Aiden Hill, I think are good shots also to be on the team. On paper, I think people are going to make fun of that, but I had to give Aiden Hill his shouts as well. So hoping Devin Levi progresses the way we expect him to progress, and I think next year he's going to get a lot more consistent starts and hopefully be healthy. And I think by the following year, we could see a big year for him leading into a selection for Team Canada. So give me your thoughts, guys, on this part 1. Again, this is very part 1. We'll see what happens. I feel like I'll have a different opinion in the summer after seeing a full season again, seeing the playoffs, see what happens. And then we'll be a lot closer again. So subscribe, like, comment, notification bell. Give me your thoughts on what you think Team Canada could look like. If you disagree, agree, comment down below, and we'll chat soon. Peace.